Hello everybody, my name is Neil Bakiev and I'm the founder of my website, which is IELTSwheel.com. And today we'll be analyzing the speaking section of the IELTS exam. More specifically, we'll be analyzing part 3, which is discussion and analysis. So the examiner wants to make sure that you can discuss, analyze, compare, and contrast data. Okay? Now, and we are talking about shopping at markets. Let's look at the first question. Do people in your country enjoy going to open-air markets that sell things like food or clothes or antiques? Which type of market is more popular, and then why? Okay, so we can answer something like, yes, indeed, they do. So the question is, do people in your country enjoy going? Okay, do, and the answer is do. Okay, so we want to answer this question very, very precisely. Okay, and that's how we can, earn some points for coherence and cohesion. Okay, next, the examiner wants to know why. So in this case, the word indeed basically means really. Yes, they really do. Next, so the first reason for this is that customers expect to buy fresh fruit and vegetables. That's it. So we need to provide the first reason, and I'm using a great linking device. The first reason for this is that. Okay, so and here I explain that our customers expect to buy fresh fruit and vegetables. Okay, now I just need to be more specific, and I can do it by providing one great example, something like, for example, while a supermarket can sell the same apples, which, let's say, lose their freshness after several days, open air markets sell them, let's say, for a day. Okay, and now I want to be more specific, which means that they are always fresh. Okay, here we go. I'm using a great linking device, for example, and it affects coherence and cohesion positively. And here I'm comparing supermarkets with open air markets, and I'm using the word while. Okay, I'm using the modal verb can. Okay, I'm using relative clause which. Okay, here again, here which means it's all about grammar. Now let's just focus on vocabulary here. I use the word freshness. So fresh is an adjective and freshness is a noun. Okay, for a day, it's a good word. Okay, great, which means for only one day. So before I have explained, okay, and here I just need to prove that what I'm saying is correct, and you can do it by providing one specific example. Okay, now I just want to give one more reason. I can say something like, the second reason behind this trend is let's say fruit and vegetables and vegetables. Okay, at the farmers market are generally, and I'm using the passive voice here, picked when they are fully ripe, and when, let's say, when the plants natural sugars are at their peak. Okay, so we have different kinds of sugars here. So like, don't panic about sugars as a plural. Don't worry, it's possible. When it's spoken English, it's possible. Okay, so here I'm using the second reason behind this trend is, okay, it's a great linking device. Okay, so fruit and vegetables at the farmers market are generally picked. I'm using the passive voice here. When they're fully ripe. Okay, I'm using an adverb and an adjective here. And when plants' natural sugars are at their peak. Okay, I'm using a lot of specific vocabulary here. That's good. Now let's move on. Eating. Let's say them. In this case, them means fruit and vegetables. Okay, when, let's say, they are ripe, and then not only tastes better, but it also or let's just say but they, in this case, because we're talking about fruit and vegetables, but they let's say also provide the best, let's say, nutrition Okay, here we go. So eating them, so I'm referring back, and I know exactly what we are talking about, fruit and vegetables. So it's all about coherence and cohesion. Okay, when they are ripe, again, it's a very good vocabulary. Here I'm using not only, but also. And it's all about grammar. Okay, so not only tastes better, but they also provide the best nutrition. So here you can say but they, in this case you're referring to fruit and vegetables, but it's also possible to say but eat. It's also possible, it also provides, and the meaning is a little bit different here. When you say but eat, means that eating, this whole process, provides the best nutrition. So you see that? So by changing these words, the meaning might be a little bit different. So let's just keep it eat here. Okay, and then I want to provide one sentence which will conclude the whole idea. I might say something like, therefore, let's say open air markets, okay, and then which sell food, and then have become so popular not only in New Zealand, but also, let's say, around the world. That's great. So here, therefore, which means that's why. Okay, and we can just, it's all about coherence and cohesion. Open air markets which sell food have become, I'm using the present perfect here, so popular. And then again, not only, but also. Okay, it's good grammar, around the world. That's it. So so let's just look at the question again. Do people in your country enjoy going to open air markets? We've already answered. Okay, and then why? And we've already explained which type of market, and we said that open air markets which sell food. As you can see, we have answered each part of this question. We have analyzed, we have compared supermarkets with open air markets. We've done our job well. That's good. Now let's just focus on the next question. So the next question is, do you okay, let's just go to the next page. So do you think markets are more suitable places for selling certain types of things? Which ones, and then why do you think this is? Okay, it's a pretty complex question, but that's all right. Let's just try to answer this question. Okay, let's say if you agree, let's say yes, I most certainly believe so. Okay, instead of saying just yes, okay, you just want to say yes, I most certainly. Okay, so it's so certainly, more certainly, okay, then the most certainly, basically. So it's all about grammar here. Okay, and then also the question is, do you think? And the answer is yes. Okay, so I'm very, very specific here. That's great. Next, I can say something like, for example, here, for example, there is a popular second-hand market here in Southland called, and then here I want to be more specific. Let's say garage we, and then use shop. Okay, and I want to be more specific, which sells furniture, and then kitchen appliances, and clothes. Okay. Now, for example, it's a very good linking device. Okay, next, I'm using there is the raw. Okay, next one, a popular second-hand market. So do you think markets are more suitable for selling certain types? So second-hand market, it's a good vocabulary. And then which sells what? Furniture, kitchen appliances, and clothes. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's vocabulary here. Let's just change the color. And also here, furniture, kitchen appliances, and clothes. Okay, again, we're using very specific vocabulary here. Okay, here we go. That's good. Here we go. Okay, that's great. So we've already answered this question, but we just want to move on. We can say something like, let's say this market usually attracts, let's say, less fortunate people who are unable to purchase similar products at higher, let's say, at higher, let's say, prices in shops. That's good. So this market we are referring back, so it's coherence and cohesion, usually attracts, it's a very good vocabulary, okay, and then less fortunate people. Less fortunate people basically means poor people, those who don't have much money, and then who are unable to. I'm using the modal verb here. Okay, so who are unable to, which basically means who are not able to purchase similar products, okay, and then at higher prices. Higher, the highest. So I'm using a comparative adjective here, and then in shops. And if you look at this carefully, I'm trying to compare again this second-hand market with a regular store, okay, or with a regular shop. So that's exactly what the examiner wants you to do. He wants you to compare and contrast. Okay, let's move on. In addition to this, one can obtain certain spare parts for a, let's say, broken fridge, for example, which are no longer being produced. Excellent. So in addition to this, so I'm providing one more idea here, okay, and I'm using in addition to this. One means a person, an individual, can obtain, which means buy, okay, it's a very specific word here, certain spare parts. Spare parts means additional parts. For a broken fridge, okay, it's a very good vocabulary again. And then, for example, it's a good linking device, which are no longer being produced. I'm using the passive voice plus the present continuous at the same time. All right, okay, let's just create one more sentence. Therefore, rather than buying a new expensive fridge, some people prefer to find the required spare parts, use them as, let's say, replacements, okay, and keep their fridge, let's say, running. Excellent, that's all. So again, therefore means that's why. It's a linking device. I'm using complex grammar here, rather than. So when you have two objects, that's what we can say. Okay, rather than, again, after rather than use ing, rather than buying, acquiring a new expensive fridge. Some people prefer to, it's a good word, okay, find the required spare parts, which means necessary, use them as replacements. It's a good word. When you replace something, which means that you remove the old one and you have a new one, and keep the fridge running. It's a very good collocation. Excellent. And that's it. As you can see, we have used coherence and cohesion, vocabulary and grammar to answer these questions. And now let's just focus on the last question here. Do you think young people feel the same about shopping at markets as older people do? Why is that? As you can see, the examiner wants us to compare young people with older people. He wants to understand whether you can do it professionally or not. Now, how can we do it? You can say something like, I feel that the opposite is true. I feel that basically means I think that, but it sounds much better. Okay, I feel that. The opposite is true is a very good collocation, which means no, it's not true. The opposite is true. Okay, vice versa. Okay, now I want to compare. How can I do it? I can use it with the keyword while. So while elderly people aspire to save, let's say, as much money as possible. How? By plus ing, by purchasing items at markets. And then young people, so young people tend to buy items in shopping malls. Okay, so we have two kinds of people, right? Young people and older people. Okay, so we need to compare them, and we can do it using the word while. So while elderly people aspire to, which means try to, save as much money as possible. So as much as possible. Okay, so it's great grammar. By plus ing, by purchasing, by obtaining. Okay, here I'm using purchasing items. It's a good collocation, which means buying things. You don't want to say things, you want to say items. At markets, young people tend to, okay, vocabulary, which means usually buy items where in shopping malls. Okay, it's a very good collocation here. Okay, and the examiner wants to know why it happens, and you can say something like, let's say one of the reasons for this is that the latter are more, let's say, financially stable and therefore can afford to buy, let's say to buy products. And then I don't want to say shopping malls, just will say just malls. Okay, so one of the reasons for this, it's a great coherence and cohesion here. Okay, so one of the reasons for this is that. Perfect. Now that letter, we are talking about two categories of people, right? Elderly people and young people. So young people are the second category of people, and therefore I'm using the word letter. Okay, and I'm referring back. I don't want to say that young people, I just say the letter, which means young people are more financially stable. So stable, more stable, and the most stable. I'm using a comparative grammar here. And then financially stable. Okay, I'm using an adverb and adjective here. So it's all about vocabulary. And therefore, again, a great linking device. Can afford, okay, modal verb. The examiner really wants to see modal verbs in your responses. afford, it's a good vocabulary, which means you have enough money to buy something. Okay, to buy products, in malls, right? In malls here. Sorry, that's really cool. Next. Now the examiner wants to know probably the second reason. Okay, so you can say something like, apart from this, youngsters, let's say youngsters, youngsters are reluctant to spend, and then much time, let's say, exploring available items and buying them at markets. Again, I'm comparing them, okay, and I'm using apart from this, which basically means in addition to this. Okay, I'm providing the second idea. Youngsters, which means young people, so I'm using a great vocabulary here. Next, are reluctant to, which means don't want to. Spend much time exploring available items. It's a good vocabulary here. And buying them at markets. Good. And now the last sentence, I'm going to talk about elderly people, something like senior people, and I'm using a great linking device. By contrast, let's say, do enjoy this shopping, let's say, experience, as they have more free time on their hands. Okay, cool. So senior people, right? I've just paraphrased before. The question was older people. I've paraphrased senior people, and then by contrast. So which means you can say by contrast. You can also say in contrast. Do enjoy, which means really enjoy. That's good grammar here. This shopping experience. It's a very good collocation, which the examiner will definitely like. Okay. And then as, which means because. It's a good linking device. They have more free time. So have much free time and then more free time. It's grammar. We are comparing. On their hands, okay, which means at their disposal. All right, so it's again, it's a great collocation. It's a great idiom. It's on their hands. So because as you can see, I have been able to compare them, right? I have been able to compare young people with older people. That's exactly what you need to do, and use such words as while, or you can also say whilst. Okay. All right, and try to use linking devices such as one of the reasons for this, apart from this, by contrast, for example. That's exactly what the examiner wants you to say, okay, in your response. Thank you very much for watching and analyzing this video lesson.